Thank you for watching this YouTube video today. This is Namtro with Namtro Gaming. Today we are going over the spell Ice Spear. Ice Spear is a spell with the tags Cold, Projectile, and Spell. Those tags are very important because they tell you what supports you can use on them, and as well as basically what passives work on them. So we're going to put them in here and check out Ice Spear. Ice Spear, when you use it, is a spell that has two forms. The first form stops about right here. See how it changes into a brighter blue about right here? Well, that means from here to here it has piercing. And then from here to here it has 600% crit chance. So from here to here, that's 49% chance to crit. Kind of a big deal. This right here does not have the crit chance, but it pierces. It's okay that it pierces, but the crit chance is usually what you're going for. The most popular use for it would have to be Power Charge and Critical Hit. Because of the absurdly high crit chance, when you come out here, and since you're going to have a really high chance to crit, which you have to be patient, because Power Charge and Critical Hit also needs to be leveled a little bit. I'm going to try to get a Power Charge here. Does not want to cooperate right now. There we are. There's that Power Charge. So that is the most popular way of using it. Of course, if the Power Charge was leveled a little bit more and it was a quality Power Charge, it'd be a lot easier to get those charges. The other thing they usually do alongside Power Charge and Critical Hit is they'll put LMP or GMP. LMP and GMP increases the amount of projectiles that are used at once, therefore hitting more targets with it and having the chance of generating more power charges. So as you see, we're generating power charges really fast here. The other thing you could do is, this is the GMP version, and usually the people that use this version of Ice Spear are not worried about the Ice Spear's damage. So they'll usually use GMP just for that fan so they can get their power charges. Because they'll have a nice amount of cast speed, and that's what they'll use to get their power charges. The other thing you could do instead of Power Charge and Critical Hit is cast speed. Because it's a spell, cast speed affects how fast you can cast it. And it also affects a bunch of different other things. So you could also do crit damage. Crit damage, since once it gets to a certain point, right here, it has 49% chance to crit. That means crit damage would be very effective on it because it has a high chance to crit. And that crit damage multiplier ends up being super high. At level 16, it's 102%. If you were to look, that's 300% multiplier. Because it multiplies the actual number that you had before. So 100% of 150% is 300%. Kind of a big deal. So, yeah. One thing that's unique about this spell, though, is if you look, anything that has piercing, see how I pierce through this? It's not chaining or anything, right? Well, if I get backwards, see how it chained that time? That's because piercing will not let you chain unless it's in its second form, because then it doesn't pierce anymore. Once it's in its second form, it won't pierce, and then it can chain. It's kind of interesting. It doesn't really have that many uses, and I wouldn't really recommend it, but it's something to think about. And same thing with Fork. Fork works the same way. There's nothing in front of it, or if there's piercing going on, piercing will always override Fork, but you see there, as soon as it goes into its second form, it can fork. Kind of interesting. The other things you can do to it, obviously, is just increasing the base damage with added chaos. Added chaos will always do interesting things that increase the damage by a lot. Added chaos is really nice because it negates some reflect damage you would be taking on reflect packs. So you wouldn't have to worry about reflect as bad. And added chaos does scale with spell damage and projectile damage as well. So that's another thing you can think of. You could do added lightning, although added lightning I would not say is as good for this spell, but I mean, it's something you could try. It will add lightning damage to the spell, just like it would to anything else. And then, because it is a spell, stuff like things with attack support will never work. So that means life gain on hit is an attack. It does not have spell on it. So that means it cannot be augmented by attack support gems. So keep that in mind. I hope you enjoyed that part. But just to give you an idea what I would do for the tree, there's cold damage here that's pretty decent. There's also cold damage here that's really decent. There's also cast speed inside the witch tree. These 4% are always really good to look at. The 16% spell damage are always nice. There's crit chance on this side, which, you know, extra crit chance is okay. But with Ice Spear, crit damage is going to be king because you already are going to have a high crit chance, so that crit damage is going to be a thing. Of course, there's always elemental damage works too. Elemental basically affects anything that's fire, ice, or lightning. Spell damage would affect added chaos. Cast speed, of course. Always go for 4% cast speeds when you can. You could do projectile damage. The only time I would probably do projectile damage, though, is down here with Ballistics Mastery. And the only thing that's bad about projectile speed, though, is that it increases the range where it pierces. So it's not something I'd suggest doing. But probably the most popular use, like I said, is using it for those power charges. So hopefully you guys understand a little bit more about power charge on critical hit with Ice Spear and Ice Spear itself. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you for watching.